So if you've been following along on the live and you watched the last video, you see I had a day in the market. We came out $9 in profit. With that being said, we back at it again tomorrow. And tomorrow we about to make this market RIP. You feel me? So I have two different lists here. They're pretty much the same things. They're just my watch list for tomorrow and the stocks that I'm going to be looking at and the levels that I'm going to be looking for. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into it. Right off the bat, we have the S&P 500, right? This right here is a big money maker. It's a big mover. It's a shaker. This is where I made the majority of my bag at on my last video, where I made $200 in a day. And the main pivot for this is if it can maintain the level it's at right now, which is 7499. If it continues there and breaks back through the 7508, which is the high of the day. Today's July 1st. So, well, no, today is June 30th. This is looking for Wednesday, July 1st. And on oh my God, bro, I'm all jumbled up. On June 30th, SPX hit a high of 7508. So if tomorrow, July 1st, it can hit that again and break through it, we got some upside. So if it breaks through that 7508, I'm going to be looking for it to go to 7520. If it could hold and break that, it's going to 7535, 7550, and then 7570. If we end up opening up and we fall below the 7499 and it can't refine support, the next level is 7491. If it breaks that, we're going to 7480. If it breaks that, we're going to 7461, 7460. And we can get as low as 7350s tomorrow. 7350s if we can't hold this 7499. Because like I said, it hit, pretty sure this is an all-time high. And I don't really like all-time highs myself personally. So I'm bullish if we can break through 7508. I'm bearish if it falls under 7491. The next ticker we have on the time clock is going to be the SPY. Love the SPY. This is the first stock that I learned how to trade. And I'm not going to lie, I used to buy 10-cent contracts. I would buy 10-cent contracts and try to make a cent on each one just to make $10. That's how I started trading, bro. Just following RSI and looking at the tape and the ticker to see how many input orders were coming versus how many sell orders. And that's how I would pick a direction. And then I would just pick a cheap contract and buy a bunch of them and hope that it went up 3 cents. We don't do that no more. We have levels and we have support and resistance. So for the SPY, our main pivot is 746.80. If it falls below this level, I'm going to be looking for the downside. But if it can break out of 748, I'm going to be looking for more upside to 749 to 750-ish area. If it could hold 750, we got room to 752. If we break 752, we can hit 755 to 757. Again, I believe the SPY is in all-time high area, so I'm iffy and shaky on that. And if we open up tomorrow and we start breaking below the 746.80, the next level to look at is 744.40, and then we have 741 and then 736.50. Right? If we break all three of those, we have room to go to 729, bro. 730, 729. And if you were paying attention today, both of these had pretty significant jumps today. The SPY had like a 6.8 point move. And then the next ticker that we are going to be looking at is QQQ. I don't know why this keeps happening. I'm gonna have to get a new HDMI cord again. I just opened this today and it keeps doing this. Amazon, I have a complaint for you. Take this janky ass cord back. All right, and then next ticker is going to be QQQ. Our main watch point is going to be 736.40 to see if it can hold. If it can break out of 737.60s range, we have room to the 740. If it can break 740.50, we can see 742. And then we have 747 or 744. And if we can break 744.70, we're going to 745.30. And again, I know these seem like small increments, but in my opinion, normally ETFs like SPY and QQQ are not supposed to make $10 moves in one day. They're not supposed to be making $20 jumps in one day. This is a whole conglomerate of companies and businesses. The S&P 500, that's 500 companies. The SPY is also comprised of multiple companies. So if you see a $10 move in either one of these, that means millions, if not billions of dollars are being circulated through multiple other companies, whether that's on the upside or the downside. Why is this much money moving at one time is always my bigger question. And with that being said, you have to look at the underlying assets that make these groups of assets up. But before we look at those, let's just finish. So QQQ, if we don't hold this 737, we have room to the 736, excuse me. If we don't hold this 736, we have room to 734. From 734, we're looking at 732 to 733-ish area. And then we have 730 as our next level down, 727, 724.20, all the way to 723.90. And so if the numbers that the charts go to aren't listed on my cheat sheet, that means the bottom fell out. Or we're reaching all-time highs. And I don't really have any instruction for what you should do here other than look at your RSI, look at VWAP, and look at the the moving average. Look at your moving averages, look at your RSI, and look at the VWAP. And then if you really, really want to, you could go look at the buy and sell orders of the day and see which direction the tape seems to be going. And so, long story short, SPX, I'm bullish above 75.08. I'm bearish under 74.91. SPY, I'm bullish above 746.80, and I'm bearish under 744. And QQQ, I'm bullish over 737. I'm bearish under 734. And for all of these, my main rule of thumb is I'm expecting a bullish continuation from today. I'm going to confirm by looking at VWAP. If we look at all these tickers here, for the majority of the day, the stock stayed above VWAP. And especially for SPX, it really respected VWAP heavy today. And so we're going to be looking at tech and semiconductors as the lead of the market. And we're going to be looking for momentum plays, see if the momentum is still in play. We do have a job report coming out on Thursday. So rates can get affected and people's fear is going to be at an all-time high until they actually get numbers. But it is what it is. And it says Tesla deliveries Thursday. Tesla was shaking and moving today, baby. Tesla was moving and shaking. So I'm going to look for more upside on the market in general, but I'm going to wait and get confirmation on that before I jump into any calls. And these are my trigger levels for getting into any puts. And I'm going to use SPX and QQQ as the deciding factors for the direction of the market. And so next we have Nvda. This is a semiconductor. It has a lot of AI strength and capability. We had a strong day today. It reclaimed this 200 level. So if it can keep going, the next level up is 202. And from 202, we have 204 to 206 to 208 to 210. I'm going to be short with you. I like Nvda to 220. So these are my levels along the way. But if you really want to do some swing trades, because I'm a volume trader and a momentum trader, I like volatility. But if you want to have something a little safer, a little slower moving, you could take a long call on this to 220 and put your money there. I think it's a good call. But I like dailies and I like weeklies. I'm not doing swing trades too often anymore. I used to swing trade all the time until I learned how to do daily contracts and actually read the market. Before, I would just make estimates and guesses for what I thought the company was doing and how well it was doing. And then I would just buy a week or 2 or 3 weeks away and hope for the best. I don't do that shit no more. So Nvda is bullish as long as it can stay above 200. If it can break 202, even better. If it falls back beneath 198.60, I'm going to be looking for it to the downside. We'll have 197.20, then we can hit 195.10, and then we can go as low as 190 on the day if we can't find support at any of these other levels. And next we have Tesla. We have Q2 deliveries being announced on Thursday. I just read something, I believe Monday, talking about they delivered a large amount. I don't even remember exactly what it was. It was positive news, and they delivered some vehicle to a company, right? And then what's his name? Elon made an announcement about some new types of vehicles coming out, I believe on Monday, which kind of moved Tesla a little bit. And so I'm going to be looking for a continuation of today's bullish market on Tesla. And with that being said, we're looking at 424 to be our trigger point. And if we can break and hold that, we're going to be looking for 430, 440, 444. Gotta love that. And that's some good luck right there. Look, that makes me want to just take, see, I low key just want to take a swing trade now. We're at 440. And then from there, we can go to 450, right? And if we can't hold this 424, our next leg down is 412. If we break that 412, we go into 406. If we break that 406, we go into 400, and we can get as low as 390 on that bid. And so the plan is to wait and see what happens on the first 15-minute candle and see if it can hold 418.50 and take a push to 420. If it can push past 420, then we know it's going to 424. If we can push past 424, then we got that 430. And then the main thing I'm gonna be looking at is Appl. And so if you watch my other videos, you can go ahead and see I realized a little pattern that was happening on Appl. Whatever it does in the first 15 minutes, it ends up doing that for about an hour, hour and a half, right? So I'm going to take three. You can see right here, I have my 3 contract plan. So at open, after the first 15 minutes, I'm going to check the chart, see what's going on, and I'm taking 3 contracts, whether it's upside or downside. And I plan on selling one. Once it taps my next target price, I'm going to sell the second once it hits the second level, and then I'm going to sell the third if and only if it breaks VWAP or one of the moving averages. So right now to the upside, we have 288 as a pivot point, and then we'd be looking for 292. So say I bought 3 of these contracts because the candle broke up and we hit 289.40. I'm going to hold the first one until 290, possibly 292. If we break that 292, 292.50, I'm going to sell the second one, and then I'm just holding on because my goal is going to be 300. Like I said in my previous video, I like Appl to 300 in real talk. I believe it can go there. Everybody has iPhones. I have 2 Apple Watches, bro. I have 2 Apple Watches and 2 iMacs, and I had 2 iPhones until one of them broke. You feel me? So like everybody has Appl, bro, and they're pretty much cemented into the economy at this point. So I believe Appl can easily push back to 300. It just needs the right momentum and the right news when it comes to chips, because part of the things that affect it is chip manufacturing, you feel me? And whether or not there's enough chips to go around, as well as their manufacturing numbers and the fact that they raised prices and nobody really reacted too bad. Like only people I heard comment on the fact that Appl decided to raise their prices are people who are trading the actual stock. Anybody who's not trading hasn't even said anything to me about Appl raising their prices, bro. And that just means they're going to get away with it. People are still going to buy it, and that means higher profit for them. But is it really? Because part of the reason they raised the prices is because of the prices of chips. So if we get any good news about chip production being up and pricing being down, I believe Appl can soar off of that good news. And the fact that they took a big dip on the day that they announced they were raising prices, people were scared for a second, but now they're realizing it doesn't really play that big of a difference into anything. And when I saw the list of prices, it says a MacBook Pro is $1,200, $1,299. I'm almost 100% positive I paid $1,500 for my first MacBook anyway. So they're not raising prices, they putting them back where they were. But yeah, man, with that being said, this is what I'm looking at in the market for tomorrow. We're going to wait for VWAP. We're going to wait for our 20-a-day EMAs before we take anything or before we jump out of anything. My main tickers are going to be the ETFs, SPX, SPY, and QQQ. And then to play alongside those, I'm looking at Appl. And these are just 2 of my babies. I'm not guaranteed going to play them, but I will have my eye on them. And then this right here is my trading game plan. Before entering any play, I'm checking, is the SPY above VWAP? Is QQQ above VWAP? And is the ticker that I'm trading above or below VWAP? Has there been any price rejections on support? Or am I just trying to continue chasing highs? And what does the RSI say? That's one thing that I forgot so hard. Like I said, I used to just trade off of volatility and momentum. So I really would just watch the RSI a lot and then just go based off that and try to make little quick scalps, right? And now that I know how to chart and watch levels, I just be looking at my levels and I forget to check the RSI to confirm whether or not my levels are supported. And so am I entering the setup or am I reacting emotionally? Today, I did a lot of emotional reacting, and just like I said, I didn't want to lose money. So if I'm still sleepy, I'm not trading. If I'm rushing, I'm not trading. One of the biggest things that all traders suffer with is revenge trading and giving money back to the market. Oh my God. I can't tell you how much money I've given back to the market. And then trying to make your money back after a missed move. Don't do that. And then if price is already extended, this is another big reason why I missed part of the move on Tesla and QQQ, is because by the time I saw them, they had already went up $3 to $4. And so I'm like, is it overextended? I don't want to buy into overextension. And then we kept going up. So we're going to wait for every play to either break VWAP or to hit the 20-day moving average. We're going to look for pullback entries over looking for breakouts. And we're going to exit way smarter and play smaller. You feel me? Start small, play smart. So yeah, trade the charts, not with your hearts. You feel me? So I just gave you the levels I'm looking at on the chart, and I'll be back.